Hi guys, and on this video we're going to continue with our cardiology stuff, and very specifically we're going to continue with the sinus rhythms. What defines a sinus rhythm? Remember, this is our normal state, so you got to understand the normal, and make sure that you have not watched these videos out of sequence. Make sure that you're understanding how to read an EKG. Make sure that you know what the waves are, what that they do. It is so very important. If you don't understand that physiology, you're not going to understand normal, and then you're going to be really confused once you get to abnormal. So the sinus rhythm, guys, again, this is the one that probably 70 to 80% of people walk around in with no problems. The sinus node is the pacemaker, and again, it's firing at a rate of between 60 and 100 a minute, and then every impulse is conducted normally through the ventricles, okay? So again, starting pacemaker up here at the sinoatrial node. Again, conducts through here, goes through here, QRS complex, it beats, and then it repolarizes. The rate 60 to 100 is usually regular. Well, it is regular if it's going to be normal sinus. And then again, it conducts the impulse through the ventricles with no problems, okay? So again, these are our rules, all right? Make sure that you start understanding the rules and able to spout off the rules about an EKG, especially when you're learning them. Again, it's going to be regular, the rate 60 to 100. We have P waves. They are uniform in shape. We have one P wave for every QRS. Our PR interval, 0.12 to 0.20, and it remains constant. It does not change. QRS is less than 0.12. All right, so if I take a look at this, let's look at the rules. Does it fit? All right, is it regular? Yes, it's regular. Heart rate's 80 beats per minute. Again, two ways to determine that. The two ways is to count the R peaks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm sorry, 9, guys. So it's a heart rate of 90 per minute. Again, if I do it the box method, 300, 150, 100. It's just a little bit less than 100. So there we go. Then again, it's between 175, probably more towards the 90. Look at that. It just happens to match up. Again, we have a P wave. They are the same shape. They're pretty much the same size. The PR interval is, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. That's well within the parameters. Again, 0.20 seconds. There is a P wave for every QRS, and all of that remains constant. This is normal sinus rhythm. So if I go a little bit, the difference between sinus rhythm and sinus bradycardia, the only difference is the heart rate is below 60, okay? And when you get a slower rhythm, guys, you really need to look and make sure that you've got all of these things to make sure that it is sinus, because it actually does kind of affect the way that we treat it. So again, heart rate, less than 60 beats per minute. That's the only difference between the sinus bradycardia and sinus rhythm. All right? Everything else stays the same. So if I look at this one, is it regular? Looks pretty regular. Do I have, again, I look at the rate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know it's 50. I know it's it's slow. It's below 60. Again, I don't start panicking until I see the heart rate below 50. That's when I kind of go, wait a minute. Remember, guys, Starling's law, and the more time that ventricle has to fill, it's got more blood in there. So usually at 50, you're not going to see hemodynamic changes as bad. That has to do with the cardiac output. It kind of is a compensating mechanism. It's a wonderful thing about our pump. Let's see here. Do I have P waves? Yep. Do I have QRS? I have like a T. Do I have a P wave for every QRS? Yes, I do. The PR interval appears to be around 4 to 5 boxes, so it's not elongated. That's good. The QRS is nice and narrow. Again, this is sinus bradycardia. Tachycardia, same thing as sinus rhythm, except it's above 100 beats a minute. Now, with this rule here, though, I have to stress this. It usually does not exceed 160 beats a minute. It can, and that's where I'm going to teach you guys a really important a number that, yes, you do need to know. Or at least I think that you need to know it, is 220 minus age. That is the upper limit of sinus tachycardia. So if I've got a 5-year-old kid that's got a heart rate of 210, I'm not really panicking because that is his upper limit of sinus tachycardia. Versus if I got a little old lady at 210 who's 70 years old, she probably is not in a sinus tachycardia. Okay? So that's the major thing to understand. Other than that, the rest of the rules are the same with this guy. If it's above 100 beats a minute, usually guys at 160, we really take a really close look to make sure that it is actually a sinus rhythm. Let me go back to my arrow here. Automatic, there we go. All right, let's go back here. So sinus tach. So again, I got, let's see here, is it regular? Looks pretty regular to me. Again, the rate is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. It's 140. So we're kind of bordering on that 150 area. And guys, 150 is kind of our danger zone. I know that it says the upper end of sinus tach is 160 usually. So but I'm telling you that at 150 we start seeing the changes that we don't like. One of the things I like to do is keep the pulse between 50 and 150. And usually between 50 and 150, the heart compensates pretty well. Below 50 is when you start seeing changes. Above 50, 150, you start seeing things go south. And I want to also stress that point. That's not always in every patient. So you can have a patient with a heart rate of 160, 170, and they still are normal. They still compensate very well. And it's very important that every now and then check the stability of your patient, okay? So again, sinus rhythm. So it is a rate of 140. It's regular. I got a P wave, I got a QRS, I got a T. There appears to be a P wave for every QRS complex. The PR interval is below 0.20 and it's above 0.12. And let's see here, the QRS is nice and narrow. Yes, this is a sinus tachycardia, okay? Now, sinus arrhythmia. Up until now, we've talked about everything. Sinus rhythms are usually very regular. Most of them are. However, there's some times where that doesn't happen, especially when you have an immature system. Kids, especially, when they like to breathe, they'll do this. It's called sinus arrhythmia. What that causes is a brief delay, a brief pause, usually caused from just the SA node not getting a signal because of the pressure being put on the autonomic nervous system. It just kind of slows the conduction just a teeny tiny bit, but it's enough for us to see irregularity. So the key thing here, though, guys, is that the QRS is just that it's irregular versus the regular rhythm. And the heart rate in sinus arrhythmia is usually 60 to 100. You might even see it in a little bit higher tachycardia rhythm. You might see it. So if you look at this one, okay, is it regular? Well, look at this guy right here. No, wait just a second. It's not. So if I look at the R to R interval from here to here, sorry, let me get my mouse pointer. The R to R interval, okay, but this one, yeah, this one's really long, and as a matter of fact, this one's really long. So again, there's irregularity to it. All right, so let's make sure that we got nothing funky going on. All right, the rate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So far, so good. Do I have P waves? Yep. QRSs? Yep. They're narrow. T waves? They're a little bit funky, but they're there. All right. Do I have a P wave for every QRS? I got a P. I got a QRS. I got a P wave. I got a QRS. Yeah, we're good with that. Okay. And by the way, guys, don't be afraid as you're learning to draw on these strips. Okay. As you're learning, identify those spots. As you get better, obviously you don't need to mark them anymore. But as you're learning these, identify what the pieces of the puzzle are, so it will help you remember in later times. So I got a P wave for every QRS. That PR interval, which is right here, yeah, that looks pretty good. Definitely less than 5 boxes. Even when we get over here, it's still less than 5 boxes. Are they the same shape? Yes, they are. The QRS is the same shape. Yes. Okay, we're good. This is just a simple sinus arrhythmia. All right. So now the practice strips. So I'm gonna let you guys do this one on your own. So the wall raven slides are up on canvas, and by all means, break out these strips, practice them, draw on them. You guys all have PowerPoint. I showed you how to get Office via your Patriot account, so you guys can draw on these slides all day long. Okay, grab that Apple Pencil, grab that stylet, man. Do some drawing on these things, and guess what? You can clear it off really easy at the end. And when you go to clear it off, just like this, it's going to say, hey, do you want to save the slides? And I'm going to put this over here so you guys can see it. Yeah, I really don't want to save the ink on there. There you go. All right, so that's how you do it. And then you can practice again and again and again and again and again. And by the way, they've got like, oh, look at that, 30 practice slides that you guys can use. So go grab that stuff, go do it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.